Hello fiends and collectors, this is me, Daniel East 1000, back again with another Star Wars The Black Series figure review. Today we're going to be having a look at another hotly anticipated release I've been really hyped for, and I'm sure many other people have as well, due to how requested he's been. He's my second favourite horny boy to another Red Devil. Today we're going to be having a look at none other than Savage Opress. First, as per usual, before we take a look at the figure itself, we will be having a quick look at the packaging, of which is pretty standard stuff at this point. Star Wars The Black Series at the top there. Lovely window display where you can see the figure and all the accessories. You also have a nice backdrop bled into that yellow colour scheme, which really offsets the figure quite nicely in that packaging. Of course, you've got the name of the character on the side there, number of the character, media that it appeared in on that yellow colour banding, which goes all the way around the packaging. Bit of legalese at the bottom there, nothing much going on the side, just Star Wars The Black Series and that colour banding. On the other side, lovely image of the character, and that bleeds into the colour scheme with the name at the bottom there as well. On the back, imagery again, Star Wars The Black Series, bit of a bio on the character itself. Number of the character, as well as the media that it appears in, a ton of legal garb, which we've all come to know and love, and same at the bottom there. Nothing going on at the top. Of course, it is a deluxe figure, so it is slightly more oversized compared to your standard Black Series figgies, and you'll be paying the price point for it as well. So, with that out of the way and done with, let's now take a look at the figure itself.
You have no technique. Sloppy. With the proper training, you could be a powerful warrior.
So here we have the figure itself in hand, and I have to say, Hasbro have captured the brute perfectly. Savage Opress is a real force to be reckoned with when he's introduced in the Clone Wars TV series. He's a real menace for sure, and Hasbro have captured that absolutely exquisitely in this figure. Just mentioning that straight off the bat, Hasbro are killing it this year, and this figure is one that I'm sure many people are going to be really pleased to add to their collections. So first and foremost, we just have a look at that head sculpt. Of course, you've got the very Dathmerian yellow, rather enlarged horns, not quite as refined as Darth Maul's, very much left to grow out. Very nice. The head sculpt, again, something quite impressive. The fact that they've taken something from cartoon animation and interpret it into something that works live action in a realistic setting as an interpretation of that is just absolutely brilliant. Of course, you've got his armour as well, of which is really dinged up and battered. It's got a lot of scratches and scrapes, like he's really seen a lot of action, of which is really cool to see. And just looking at the under sort of armour or bodysuit, it's a very like off green colour to it, just very subtle. Looks grey initially, but if you really look at it, there's a bit of a green hue to it, and it's really nice. Of course, you've got the armour on the arms and the gauntlets, which look absolutely badass. Again, those scratch and ding marks just really add to it. It really makes it pop, makes it stand out. You've got the skirt and the front tabard there with that very interesting sort of pattern, and the belt. And then the boots are particularly really nice. You've got these straps and buckles, and then steel toe caps. Just really nice. Looks absolutely fantastic, the complete bit. Just some really wonderful but subtle sculpting details that really bring this character to life. Now, just going into accessories, he does come with this very long axe blade. I'm sure there's a name for it, I always forget. But it's the weapon that he uses to begin with. Very cool, something that the Knight brothers would use. Just very oversized because of Savage Opress's large and in charge demeanour. I love the sort of, again, the dings and scrapes and scratches, like it's not been well kept on that blade there as well. And even on the handle, you've got some Quite interesting markings, show some weathering there, which is really, really cool. Not much in terms of paint, literally just silver for the blade, and then it's the grey plastic for the handle. But it does the job. Really, really nice to have included that. It adds for some quite unique display options. Of course, as well, he does come with the double-bladed lightsaber, of which you can remove the blades from the hilt. I would say I would have preferred if the hilt wasn't in this slightly tacky grey plastic. I feel a bit harsh saying that, but it would have been nice if it was a more of a metallic colour rather than this very plain grey. It looks fine enough, nothing to really draw away from the figure. It might just be a personal preference for me. I would have preferred if that was a bit more metallic looking than this solid grey plastic, but has some nice details. You know, you've got the handle with the black grips just on there, the red button, and then also you've got the little loop just so you can have that hooked on to his belt, because it does have the hook system there. And of course, if you take the blades out, you can have that hooked on like so. Of course, if you're looking to do a more neutral pose for this guy. So, in terms of his accessories, he comes with everything that you could possibly expect him to come with. What would have added the cherry on the cake for me, though, personally, because as this is a deluxe chunky figure, size-wise, they've got that to a T, but what would have really justified it a little bit more for my mileage, filled up some of that, well, slightly dead space in the packaging, and really it's something that you could just include on the figure itself, the talisman of wayfinding. It would have been really nice if they just included that. They've essentially got the sculpt for it anyway, with Jorah Sabaoth, who has that pendant. If they just slightly retooled that, then bosh, you've got it. Very simple and effective accessory that they could have included in there. Would have added for some different display options as well, potentially. If they were really going to push the boat out, though, and really fill out that packaging, include the weird little golem-like snake.
I'm ready for my leftovers. Oh, it's still alive, huh?
That, well, tries to double-cross him, but ultimately helps him find his brother, Darth Maul.
No! Yes, we are brothers! No!
Not a big ask. That would have been really neat. I would have really appreciated that. But, alas, they haven't included that. Probably a DIY job for yourselves. You know what would have been really cool, though, as well, just thinking about it? It's a detail that I actually kind of almost forgot. Savage Opress, later on in the series, ends up getting a cybernetic arm. So, if Hasbro could have incorporated, and I'm sure they could have done it, a pop-out arm socket there, and include an interchangeable cyborg arm, and indeed, I think, an alternative head, because I'm sure one of his horns gets chipped off. That would have been absolutely awesome. Possibly pushing the reason for people to buy multiples of this guy, or allowing them to display whichever version of Savage Opress they wanted to have. But alas, I'm sure Hasbro will probably revisit this figure in the not so distant future with those details. It just would have been nice to have got it all in one complete package from the outset. In terms of what he comes with, it's what he should come with, but those are just things that I thought would have been nice just to elevate this figure a little bit more, ascend it to greatness. And don't get me wrong, this is pretty damn great. Particularly if we get into the articulation. You've got a ball joint in the head, a ball joint in the neck, butterfly joints in the shoulders, ball joints in the shoulders as well, ball jointed elbows, swivels at the tops of the gauntlets. They are a little bit limited though, just due to the backing piece here. Ball jointed wrists. Now, interestingly enough, he has two ball joints in the torso. He's got one at the top here, and then he's got one at the bottom. So you can really get him to lean quite forward, twist his abdomen in quite interesting ways. You've got ball jointed hips, ball joints in the knees, swivels at the tops of the boots, and ball jointed ankles with the rocker joints in the feet. So you can get this guy in some really, really dynamic poses. Overall, Hasbro have absolutely captured this figure perfectly, encapsulating his overbearing size and demeanour in FIGGIE form. It's one that fans have been clamouring for a very long time now. I love that we're branching out into more Clone Wars characters. particularly because Clone Wars does have a really big rogues gallery of villains, and Savage Opress is certainly one of those. So it's super cool to finally get him. Yes, it would have been nice to have got a few more little accessories just to justify that deluxe title, but alas, I think the sculpting, the detailing and work Hasbro's really put into this guy more than makes up for it. Highly recommended if you can get your hands on it. I can see it being extremely popular amongst fans and collectors. Definitely well worth the purchase. So that pretty much does it for my review on this guy. Have you picked this guy up? Are you planning on picking him up? Let me know in the comments down below. Be sure to sound off. And well, this is me, Daniel East 1000. Sign out and thank you very much for watching.